for this next one. Now, those two photos were in sequence. It's panning around, and the one is in sequence as well. And Walt Disney's Pinocchio makes an appearance. Now, Pinocchio, Apollo 14, a Pinocchio head lying in the large rock boulder. Now, can you see Pinocchio there? Maybe you want to pause it and see if you can spot him. But I'll point him out to you. Here he is here. This is his chin. We go there to his mouth. And, of course, that very distinctive Pinocchio nose, his eyes. And you come up to the top of his head, and you've got his hat up there. So that's the profile of Pinocchio. Now, one thing I will point out is where the cameraman was taking this photo. Obviously, he'd have to have it focused to get that right profile in particular. And obviously, you can just imagine it, the ironic sort of style of having character Pinocchio in here. Obviously, Pinocchio being well known for whenever he lied, his wooden nose would grow. So the other thing as well, which if anyone is aware of the Walt Disney Pinocchio story, is when Pinocchio was brought to life, he was still a wooden boy before he would become a human boy. But in that time, during most of that movie, you had a little character called Jiminy Cricket that went along as Pinocchio's conscience, because he didn't necessarily have one that came through until he became a little boy. So what we have up here in Pinocchio's head is a little Jiminy Cricket. And it's sort of the tie-in in with Jiminy Cricket being Pinocchio's conscience, obviously being in his head. I'll just bring that Jiminy Cricket. There he is. Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio rocks head as his conscience. Now, there's two lots of photos. Now, this one was the one there that we just looked at, but there was one after, which is obviously just a little bit clearer. We can see his rounded hat there, and you got the band, just like that, hat there. And his nose, obviously it's not the full figure we can see here, but his comes down to his arm sticking out, and his umbrella. Very distinctive there, the umbrella. And you come down here and you see a little bit of a shoe, like that. Yeah, so I thought it was quite interesting that we saw Pinocchio here. Now, we come to another photo that's after it. Now, one thing I want to point out here, you've got, of course, Pinocchio in the scene here again, and looking at Pinocchio here, one thing you do notice is different is his nose has got longer. Obviously, it's a slightly moved and different angle profile, but we have a look back. See Pinocchio's nose, the size of to this rock here. And it's growing from the perspective. Okay, so the other thing, of course, what you have here with Pinocchio is, and on the right, a man is seen pondering everything that we've seen. See his eye there, his big nose, his mouth. Sitting there pondering. Okay. Now, we've got the last set of photos to look at here. Okay, now this is Apollo 16 on Stone Mountain. Now, one of the things that I have pointed out earlier, particularly with the sunflower playing the guitar, is it's all about perspective and what they want people to maybe notice eventually, or when the whole hoax is tacitly admitted to, what people can actually see in these photos that they've hidden for, that they want actually people to see and acknowledge there. Okay, so what we have here is 3 rocks are lined up to get the right view and perspective for the camera. Now, I had actually pointed out another video about markers, particularly for filming, that was related to what's called the C rock, and how I'd found 2 other rocks, little tiny markers, with 2 and 3 in different places. And this one here is the one that has 3 on it. right in the front here. One thing I have actually brought into it, though, is that with the camera person in particular, how they wanted to create this area here and make it look like a vast, large landscape was actually by photo trickery, or by perspective trickery, I should say. And what they've actually done here is the camera is actually very close to the ground. So in doing this, what they've done is they've obviously prejudged these things, worked out the right angles, and the cameraman, as you can see, there's this rock here, this rock here, this rock here, they're all in alignment. Now this area here, it gives us the impression when he's down low with this angle taking this photo, that all this area is actually further away than it is, when it may not actually be so. It might actually be quite close, but because he's quite close down to the ground taking the photo, and getting the right angle that they've worked out, it makes all this area look quite large. So yes, so we